Hello and welcome to this special episode on American elections in my special show Point Blank for Max Maharashtra. As we have spoken in last episode, we have started this series with a specific thought in our mind that specifically Indian audience and Indians staying in America should also get some sort of enlightenment, enrichment about what exactly is going on in American elections. Because since America is the most powerful country as far as financial aspects, political aspects, and being a superpower in the whole world, we are very keen in following American elections. Most of the journalists from India and all the countries of universe are really interested in knowing what is happening exactly in the US elections. We have with us our very old friend, Professor Ravi Marathe. I call him Professor because he was my teacher in BMCC College, Pune. And now, so many years he was in United States of America. But before that, he was in Europe for a few years. Basically, he's a teacher. Then he entered in business, and he was connected with so many industries like education, then shipping, then banking. A lot of industries he had dealt with, and now he's basically he will be with us to analyze the situation in American politics, American elections. Welcome to this program, Ravi. We are very happy that you are interacting from US for this special program, special episodes on American elections. So
Thank
to
you. Thank
begin
you,
with,
Sameeran.
yeah, it's our pleasure to connect with you. And later on, our another friend Mayank Bhagwat. Then we are trying for the great journalist Kumar Ketkar also to invite for this program, so that we can all discuss the nitty gritties and the latest happenings. We can analyze the happenings in America as far as the elections of US are concerned. So to begin with, I would like to remind our viewers that on 27th of June in Atlanta, we had witnessed a big debate, the first round of the debate in between President Joe Biden and Trump, former president of United States of America. And in some sense, we witnessed that it was a very poor show from Joe Biden's point of view. His performance was not up to the mark, was not liked by most of the citizens of America. They were very upset about his performance. Biden's tumbling performance was sending some sort of message that America needs a very powerful leader. And though Biden has a very illustrious career, political career, at his credit, he was somehow he was not confident, or people thought that he was not very at ease in that debate. So my first question to you, Ravi, will be what is the current situation as far as the national polls are concerned? What is the reaction of people after that debate? Because after the debate, I think nearby 2 weeks afterwards, we are talking on that subject again. So, what's your take on that? What is the take of common citizen of United States of America?
Yeah, Sameeran, thanks for that question. Subsequent to our last episode, I have to uh, summarize the general feeling of the American electorate over here, is that Biden should step down. The common feeling over here is he is no more mentally fit enough to carry the presidency for another 4 years. And there are various instances when people have seen him stumbling, and the stumbling has increased in terms of frequency as well as severity. And what is important is people have been observing it over for last 4 years. It has not happened suddenly. So that's the
Okay,
feeling that he should step away. And
okay.
and yeah, go ahead.
Just another part of it. I was just watching so many channels, BBC, CNN, then Al Jazeera, and international channels, and all are still reacting on that appearance. But we heard, and our sense is Joe Biden is not really in a mood to step down or allowing the party or his organization to find out for some alternative. Is it true? And if it is true, what exactly is going on in the party,
Right.
Democratic Party?
Yeah. So Joe Biden has clearly indicated that he wants to continue, and he has clearly said it in at many instances over last 15 days that he doesn't have any intention to quit. But that is his opinion. If you look at the reality, even amongst Democratic Party, the voice that he should step down has that voice has become stronger. And there are senators from Montana, senators from Colorado and Ohio who have openly expressed desire that he should step down. Now, this is not something very normal, in the sense Democratic Party's own senators saying that he should step down. In fact, one senator has gone to the extent of saying that if Biden continues, it will be a landslide win for Trump. And not only that, he will bring down along with him Democratic Party in Senate and Congress. So that's the danger for Democratic Party. So the voice within Democratic Party is not all that good. People have openly started talking about him quitting the race.
But Ravi, frankly speaking, I was wondering that in considering in Indian, there is a big, a huge difference in between Indian politics and American way of presidential elections. But I was wondering that what exactly could be problem for Democratic Party to replace the candidate, because as far as my knowledge is concerned, there are so many lobbies who are funding for these elections. So that interest could be number one. Number two could be internal setup and system of the Democratic Party, which will be preventing to find out alternative and change and compel Biden to step down or replace him. So we would like you to elaborate on this. What is the internal party system as far as this replacement is concerned?
Right. That's where that's the most important part of this replacement, and that is the way Democratic Party has is set up, and the way the presidential nomination is delivered or is confirmed. Now, I must have told you in the last episode that there are primaries. Now, primaries are conducted by each party in all the states. Now, in these primaries, the candidates who wish to be presidential candidate, okay, all those aspirants, they go to the voter and say, please vote for me. And all these primaries get conducted across all states. Right now, the stage where we are, Biden has won 3,900 votes in this primary out of the 4,000. So it's kind of a done deal in terms of the primary election results. And there is no history, there is no precedent of replacing a presidential candidate who has won all these primaries. So that's going to be the biggest hurdle for Democratic Party in terms of how to overcome this problem, that there is a candidate who has won 3,900 nominations, and now people are talking of replacing him. The only saving point is the constitution of Democratic Party says that these voters or these people of 3,900 people, they are pledged to support Biden, but they are not bound to support Biden. It's a slightly legal terminology, but what it means is Democratic Party, by its constitution, allows these people to vote in the convention to someone else, though they initially voted for Biden. So
But
that's the
Ravi, may I interrupt you by asking the same continuing part of my question, second part of my question relating to this point? That do you mean to say that if at all these 3,900 people, those who have voted for the primary rounds, they have voted for the candidate of Democratic Party, not as a person to the person as a person, Joe Biden. And another angle to this, if at all the party decides to replace him, is it physically and practically possible and still the 3,900 people would support the candidate whosoever is given by the party?
these 3,900 people, if party decides to say that, okay, we would like to replace Biden, then 3,900 people, they vote by their conscience. So there will be a sort of another election during the convention. So there will be maybe another 3-4 candidates who will throw their hat in the ring and they will say, please vote me. So these 3,900 people, as I mentioned, they are not bound by constitution to vote for Biden.
Okay. Another aspect, as I referred just a couple of minutes ago, uh, we heard that there are lobbies like financial lobby, industrial lobby,
Yeah,
political
yeah.
lobby. This lobbying, would they allow Democratic Party to continue their funding or their support as a lobby if they change their candidate?
In fact, it's the other way around right now, Samiran. The donors and the lobby people are actually now thinking that Biden should go. In fact, there is a one prominent example I can give you. The famous actor John Clooney, he wrote an op-ed day before yesterday in which he said Biden has to go. And remember, John Clooney is one of the main donors of Democratic Party, and not only one of the main donors, he has been instrumental in raising funds for Democratic Party. So such a prominent personality and donor has openly written in newspaper that he should go. That actually indicates the feeling amongst various lobbies. There is another example in Florida where the fundraising dinners were to be conducted, and the democratic official who was supposed to be doing all this activity, he said, I'm not going ahead with this. I want this dust to settle down. I'm not too sure whether Biden is going to continue or not. I cannot go in front of donors and say, please give me funds when I don't know who is going to be my candidate.
Well, Ravi, this is not a good picture and good sign of reflection of American democracy in the minds of other country people, other citizens of other countries, and it doesn't carry a good image of the country also. I was reading this editorial of The Economist, the very well political and economical analyzing magazine, and the editorial of that The Economist was saying that a superpower should be in the hands of a very powerful and capable hands. So that is a self-explanatory statement by media. I was watching Al Jazeera, I was watching BBC, I was watching AP, and all these media editors and editorials, they are reflecting the same thought. Then why Biden is so adamant on his thought? Is he scared really? If he changes the mind, then the whole democratic setup within the Democratic Party will tremble or will be disturbed. What is the reason why he is not ready to accept the fact and why he is not ready to accept the situation now?
Right. Now, it is common knowledge that Biden and his thought process is controlled by his inner circle, and mostly those that inner circle consists of his family members. Okay. And it's very uncommon for any Western democracy where an 81-year-old candidate or presidential nominee, he insists on continuing when there is a widespread doubt about his capabilities, about his physical fitness. In fact, probably you may have heard this, that during last 1 year, there have been 11 or 12 occasions when a Parkinson specialist visited White House. And everyone knows why a Parkinson specialist should visit. And but still, in spite of all this, he continues to be in denial. It's, as I said, it's very uncommon for a Western democracy to have a leader in this kind of frame of mind where he's trying to stick to power, trying to stick to chair. That's not common for American democracy or any Western democracy.
But Ravi, like in Indian politics, you are quite aware that there are motions of no confidence, either on the
Right.
floors of assembly or on the floors of parliament. So in Indian democracy, which runs on a very particular constitution of India, which is a very powerful backbone of Indian democracy. So we have so many alternatives. Of course, American democracy has got history of hundreds of years, and it's one of the oldest democracy on our planet. So, may I ask you that is there not is it not possible that there should be some internal sort of motion of sort of vote of confidence can be raised by some of the senators itself? Because today, before starting this program, I heard that some governors like senators like this Pelosi and Clooney, they have raised a very serious objection and doubts, and they are pressurizing inside the party on Biden to step down. So That sort of motion of no confidence can be brought in on the level of internal Democratic Party or not.
No, there is no concept like no confidence motion as part of any party constitution over here. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned, these 3,900 primary voters have been won by Biden in primary elections. So the only way the Biden can be replaced is if he himself decides to step aside, or the worst kind of scenario is Democratic Party decides that okay, we don't want Biden. They send him that message and they say during the convention we are going to not propose your name, which is very very unlikely, because that will bring down Democratic Party image like anything, and it will mean 100% landslide win for Trump. So the only way forward we can see is Biden himself stepping aside, and the the kind of noise which is happening from people like you mentioned, from people like Clooney or the Pelosi. Now these are very important voices, and they carry a lot of weight. So if Biden hears their voice, their opinion, and steps aside, then that will be good for Democratic Party. Otherwise, one thing is there: if this game continues where there is a lot of uncertainty about who is going to be the Democratic candidate, it's going to be bad for Democratic Party in the upcoming election. The important part is this needs to be sorted as early as possible, probably in next fortnight or so.
Okay, Ravi, last episode you had referred about the swing states. There are red
Mhm.
states, blue states, and swing states. So
Right.
if Biden adamantly, if he continues with his candidature and he doesn't listen to the other voices, senior voices like senators in his own party, who are
Mhm.
openly saying now, as you said, that Biden should voluntarily step down. If he
Mhm.
doesn't listen to them, then what happens to these red, blue, and particularly we are interested in knowing the swing states, because
Right.
if that swing becomes a landslide, then I think that could be red carpet for Donald Trump.
Absolutely, absolutely, Samir. And in fact, that's the major, pain point for Democratic Party now, because what happens is there are seven swing states like Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, Wisconsin, North Carolina. Now, these states actually decide the presidential election. Now, in the last election of 2020, except North Carolina, all swing states were won by Biden. Okay. And now, if with this kind of atmosphere, there is every possibility that voters will turn away from Democratic Party and they will vote for Trump. And in that case, as you said, it's a red carpet welcome for Trump for another 4 years of presidency. Now, as far as swing states are concerned, there are four factors which actually decide which way the swing state will go. And those factors are, probably I can go in details, but let's start with the education. Okay, now let me give an example. Here in America, to have a 4 year college degree is not all that common. It may surprise people back home in India, but it's not all that common to have a 4 year college degree. And if you look at the composition of these voters, those who do not have 4 year college degree, they are tilted towards Trump. Whereas those who have proper education, maybe 4 year degree, maybe masters, and any advanced education, they tilt towards Biden. Now, what is going to happen with this kind of problem with Biden in terms of his health, health issues and his frequent stumbling? The 4 year educated voter is likely to swing away from Biden. Now, if that happens, a state like Pennsylvania, just a 2% swing in the educated voters will result into Pennsylvania going red from blue. So this is just one example, one factor which plays an important role. Now, if if we have time, I can actually elaborate some.
I think in next episodes we have to, till that next debate takes place, we have to discuss all these points in detail. But I want to
Right.
ask you another question. As far as this episode's composition is concerned, people are more interested. People from India and Indians in America also are interested in knowing that what could be the alternative if voluntarily Biden decides to step down. Kamala
Right.
Harris, her name is on in discussions for last so many weeks, but we are not observing any possibility that immediately she could be considered as the alternative candidate. I heard that through media itself, the reports are saying that there are some plus points and minus point also in considering name of Kamala Harris for the alternate candidature of Joe Biden. So, what is the reality as far as the plus and minus weaknesses and strengths of Kamala Harris are concerned?
Yeah. So Kamala Harris currently is vice president, as all of us know. Now, she has not done well in terms of her role as vice president for last 4 years. Her record, and on one hand, we talk about stumbling of Biden. Now, on the other hand, she is known for making irrelevant statements. She's known for a funny terminology called word salad. Now, this word salad terminology is used for Kamala Harris because many a times when she starts talking, she picks up words at random from dictionary. At least it feels like that she has picked up words at random from dictionary without without any connection with verb relevance, okay, or her thought process. So it would be very difficult for someone to understand what she's trying to convey. She tries to show as if she's becoming a philosophical speaker, and in turn, she becomes a laughing stock. Okay, so that has become a very much negative point, especially for the social media savvy people. Now, if you go to YouTube, you will find, just type in the word terminology word salad, and you will find many funny videos of her. So
I know.
that's going to be a main issue, because you can't have a president who talks irrelevant, who talks illogical, right? So that's not a image of a president of the superpower like America. So that's
Ravi, I have one question in my mind. I would like to be enriched from you as far as my knowledge is concerned on this point. See, when that candidature of Biden will be finally declared, because I hope in last episode you have told us that finally it has not been declared by
correct.
Democratic Party that Biden is their official candidate.
Right.
But what American Constitution says, we would like to know that whether the candidature is on the moment of the candidature is declared, within some time span, that candidate has to declare his choice of vice president. Is that true? And if it is true, what is that process? That president, would be president, or the candidature for president has to decide immediately before going to people at large for voting and other
Absolutely.
rounds of debates. Just
Absolutely.
elaborate on that. Just
Yeah,
elaborate on that.
absolutely. See, the process is like this. Now we will have a Democratic Party convention. Now that Convention is officially the platform where the presidential nomination or presidential candidate gets declared. Then it is normal to expect that the presidential candidate will announce his deputy before the convention. So what happens is, during the convention, when the president's name is confirmed and officially declared as presidential candidate, the vice president's name also goes along with it. So it's not so that the VP nominee gets declared after the convention. It gets done during that convention. So that the ballot paper will have both the names. So that's a common practice over here in terms of declaration of the vice presidential nominee.
Ravi, this could be the next question could be very much hypothetical. It would occur to you that it is a very hypothetical question and nobody can answer. But particularly, I would ask you this question: that suppose if at all Biden prefers voluntarily to step down, then can Kamala Harris be a candidate of Democratic Party, or somebody much senior than her? Or are there any names in consideration of Democratic Party as an alternate to Biden right now? What's going on inside the Democratic Party?
Right. So there are two prominent names which are going around. One is the present Californian governor. His name is Gavin Newsom. Now he carries an excellent impression amongst voters. He may not have the necessary national profile at this stage, but definitely he has a very clean record. He has worked as governor of California for 5 years. He has worked as mayor of San Francisco for 7 years. And during his entire political record, people talk highly about him. And in fact, there is to be a joke going around that he's kind of a trainee president, because he used to go along with president, and in addition to accompanying President Joe Biden, he himself on his own, of course, on his own means on behalf of American government, visited Netanyahu, visited our Chinese president. So there is a sort of a slow image building about him as a next presidential candidate. Now people were expecting him to be fighting for Democratic candidate nomination in 2028. But if Biden steps aside, you cannot probably that's going to be one of the prominent name which will come onto paper.
But is there any sort of conventional or precedence that the outgoing president, or if he Biden prefers to voluntarily step down, then his word about his successor would be taken for granted or would be taken respectfully for continuing for another candidate, like the person whom you referred just now could be suggested or proposed by Biden as his successor, and will that be accepted by Democratic Party if at all Biden suggests that?
Yeah, Biden, preferably he wouldn't suggest. That's not the norm of how the parties work over here. I mean, there is a true democracy, if you want to call it that way, over here amongst the political parties. So Biden may suggest his name, but again, as I mentioned earlier, there is no compulsion for his followers to accept that name blindly with blind faith. So that's going to be the reality. Of course, as I mentioned, Gavin Newsom has his own good name and personality. So if Biden nominates him, then probably people will go up, support him. But that is not because he's Biden's nominee, but because of their own respect for him.
Well, Ravi, how do you foresee, with your wisdom and experience and your stay as a citizen in US, how do you foresee next two fortnights as far as these changes or political turmoil is concerned, and about the mind of citizen of US is concerned, because there is a lot of pressure on Biden itself, on Democratic Party itself. How do you foresee the situation in next 2 weeks or next two
Yeah.
fortnights? Let us say.
Yeah, the situation is very grim for Democratic Party and also for Biden. If you look at the opinion polls are heavily in favor of Trump. Rather, I would say not in favor of Trump, but against Biden. So there is if you are looking at the approval rating of the president, Biden currently has 54% people saying they are not happy with him, as against only 37% people who are saying they are happy with him. So the common man is clearly indicating his displeasure with the way Biden has appeared during that debate, and with the way they have seen him in terms of his deteriorating so-called mental faculties over last 4 years. So the next fortnight is crucial. We just hope that in the interest of their own future, Democratic Party quickly resolves this. Otherwise, it will be a continuing saga, and any delay in making the final decision will lead to the benefit of Trump. And we have been saying, or rather, Democratic Party senators, they themselves have been saying, it will mean only one conclusion: landslide for Donald Trump.
Well, Ravi, this also could sound some funny or mischievous question, but I must ask it to you because since it comes to my mind, because of our in India we have got Right to Information Act. You referred that some medical practitioners or some senior doctors are visiting again and again White House, and a lot of speculations are there as far as whether Donald Trump, whether Joe Biden has got some serious illness or like that. Is there in such a huge and senior, most democracy in the world? Is there any sort of right to know in American citizen whether what is the physical, mental health situation as far as my own president is concerned? As a citizen, I have right to know whether he is mentally and physically fit to lead this powerful country or not. Can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, yeah. This particular instance where this senior physician visited White House for 12 times during 1 year. How did it come out? It came out because of the right of information. So a citizen has access to all the White House record, of course, unless it is confidential in terms of some international problem. But otherwise, he has access to all the White House record. He can say, okay, let me know who all people visited White House. Not only that, the president undergoes his medical examination, and that medical examination report gets published officially. It is shared with common man. So there is every right for common man to understand what is happening. In fact, that happened actually just a few days ago during the press conference. Many of the reporters from prominent publications like New York Times or Wall Street Journal, they actually asked about his president's health. They asked about why this senior physician visited 12 times, and so on and so forth. So that information is in public arena, and the common man usually has right and access to that kind of detail.
Well, Ravi, it seems that we have concentrated on many complex issues, the turmoil and the post-debate situation in America, and it's really worth watching next 2 3 weeks what exactly is going to happen in Democratic Party, whether Biden decides to step down voluntarily or not, and what happens exactly for his successor if he decides so. So, thank you very much. I would like to stop here in this episode. We will be joining you again in next week for the current happenings. Also, we will be following all the next 4 rounds, remaining 4 rounds of the debates, which are to be conducted by various channels. The first debate was conducted by CNN. Now another channel will conduct the debate, the second round, and next 3 rounds will be conducted by different television channels, which will
Mhm.
be telecast across the world. So we'll be debating and talking on that also. So till now, we will stop here. I would appeal my viewers to watch this program, watch Max Maharashtra, and continue watching our programs. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank
Ravi.
you. Thanks.